Namaste. I'm with Dr. Omendra Ratnu from Jaipur, who will tell us about an exciting NGO.
Namaste, Rajiv ji. I have been inspired by your work for last 7-8 years. I've been following you on the internet. The work that Infinity Foundation is doing. I can very honestly confess that whatever little I know about Hinduism and the Dharma and its all different connotations, the struggles, I've learned at your feet. So you are a guru to me, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, it's my honor because of the kind of work you're doing.
Yeah.
So let's focus on you and the work you're doing, your NGO. Give our audience a quick snapshot of the serious problem in Pakistan that Hindus face, and what your NGO is helping.
Yes. So it was 7 years ago that I went to Delhi for a surgical conference, and somebody told me that there is a Pakistani Hindu colony in a village called Bijwasan. I took an interview of some people there, and it shook my being. And I said, if this is the level of atrocities that's happening so close to our borders, how can we be indifferent to this silent genocide? So I started investigating this, and then I found out that there are at least close to 2 lakh refugees in Rajasthan alone.
Hindus?
Hindus.
Refugees from where?
From Sindh, Pakistan, and southern Punjab of district Rahim Yar Khan.
So they're from Pakistan?
Yes.
2 lakh refugees from Pakistan are in Rajasthan alone, and these are Hindus. That's a very large statistic.
Well, if you compare that, there are 5 million Hindus in Pakistan who, if the borders were opened, not one of them would remain there. So considering that, this is a small number. But yes, the task at hand is huge because they live in abject poverty, a lot of suffering. These are very, very scared and tormented people. If you meet them, they have these vacant eyes, and they do not know English, they do not know proper Hindi, they are taught in Urdu. So there are a lot of issues with these people, which when I started to work with, they gradually opened up. And before 2014, it was very difficult to work with these people because they were Pakistani citizens. So Hindus or Muslims, it doesn't make any difference to the state of India. So it was a risky proposal. But once this government, Narendra Modi government came in, they picked up in their election manifesto, and very boldly Shri Narendra Modi ji put it that Bharat is the natural home for Bangladeshi and Pakistani Hindu refugees. Whosoever Hindu wants to come to Bharat, the Vedic Bhumi, he will be granted the refugee status.
So these people are coming officially? They're not sort of unofficially crossing the border?
Not a single refugee in Rajasthan, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh or Gujarat is unofficial. They are all legal refugees with proper documents.
So do they have to go through the processing with the Pakistani government? How do they get out?
They get out, that's the bottleneck. They get out by getting an Indian visa. So the vetting has to be at the Indian embassy level. So
the visa for medical treatment or education?
Yeah, they come on visit visas, they come on religious visas because they have to do the last rites of their parents or whoever passed away in the family. They have to immerse the ashes in the Ganga. So some come on the religious visa, some come for treatment. Largely it's a visit visa which is issued by the Indian embassy. But it's an ordeal, Rajiv ji, if you understand that. Imagine a person living 200 kilometers from Karachi, interior rural Sindh. So he boards a bus, goes to Karachi, takes a train, goes 1,000 kilometers to Rawalpindi, where there's the Indian embassy. He struggles with the touts over there. He stays there, penniless, and such 6 or 7 rounds he has to make before the Indian embassy grants him the visa.
So is Pakistan trying to stop them from leaving, or they'll be happy to?
They'll be more than happy to push them.
So if there's only 5 million and India's got 1.3 billion, why can't we take 5 million, just give them a homeland?
Because we do not know that every refugee crossing the border is a Hindu. The defense and the security establishment has to vet them.
There'll be a lot of Islamic terrorists mixing in.
It could be a possibility. And we have had talks with the highest officials on this matter, and they raised the red flag that we cannot give more than 1,000 visas a month.
Now, do you know that in 1947, when partition happened, a large percentage of what became West Pakistan were Hindus. Large percentage.
Yes.
According to the British census.
Yes.
Of like 10-12%.
15%.
15%. Okay, so let's say 15% were Hindus. So today's Pakistan's population is what?
22 crores.
220 million.
Yes.
So if they had not ethnically cleansed them, not genocided them,
Oh, yes.
and today 15% of 220 million would be about 30 million. So there would be 30 million Hindus today.
Yes.
If they were happy, contented, not being forced to convert and growing at the same rate as the rest of the Pakistani population.
Yes.
Mathematically, statistically,
Yes, that's the
true.
math. That's the simple math.
So instead of 30 million, there are 5 million. So 25 million Hindus have disappeared.
They've been digested.
So
yes.
the interesting thing is, why isn't this considered a genocide? Why isn't this considered ethnic cleansing? Why isn't the world community shouting about it? All these people who come and shout about human rights problems in India, why isn't there an outcry? Why isn't there a UN commission? Why aren't they putting sanctions on Pakistan? Because this is a very large number of people who disappeared.
It's a failure of Hindu leadership, sir.
Indian leadership.
Hindu leadership.
Hindu leadership not wanting to raise this issue internationally because we are scared, because we are embarrassed, whatever.
The lack of Purva Paksha, as you always say.
Yes.
Most of the Hindu leadership is not aware of this problem.
And they aren't, yes.
Modi ji is the political leader. He is not supposed to raise this issue at any level. He has done what a government could do. He has given us 5-year long-term visas, which was earlier for one year. He has given these refugees job permits. He has given them the permission to open bank accounts. He has given them even private property. And the biggest relief Narendra Modi government has given to these unfortunate forsaken people is to grant the power of citizenship to district collectors, which is a game changer.
Very big deal.
It's a big deal. So Jaipur, Jodhpur and Jaisalmer, these 3 districts collectors have the authority to grant citizenship if the papers of these people are complete. And by divine grace, we have already in this year alone got 175 Hindus as citizens of Bharat.
Okay. So now tell us about your organization, because Infinity Foundation India wants to help your organization.
Yes.
So tell us about your NGO.
As I said earlier, sir, that before 2014 it was very risky to work on this issue. After 2014, when a major political party picks it up in its election manifesto, we were safe. So we created this NGO Nimittekam. Nimittekam means to be the instrument of the divine, so that when any organization grows, there should be not even an iota of ego, because the moment ego comes, things start getting muddled up. So Nimittekam is the interface between the government and these refugees, because these are very, very scared people. They live with a dual identity in Pakistan. They usually use Muslim names. Every single day, their daughters are molested. They witness it. And sir, what bigger annihilation of a man's being can be than to see his daughter molested, see his women molested in front of him and be unable to do anything about it. Every single day, as we sit and talk here in our cozy, comfortable lives, 3 Hindu girls, underage, teenage girls are lifted from their homes. Entire village rapes them, and then they are sold off in the flesh market. Every single day, 3 Hindu women. Let that sink in to everybody who's listening to this. Then let our morality question us.
So there's many levels of response needed.
Yes.
One is awareness building, which is what we're doing today. Now, for this, are there documentaries? I mean, is there something we can do?
Yes.
What about documentaries in Pakistan?
Yes.
Are there hidden cameras where people are going and doing something and anonymously sending it over that can go viral?
Few courageous journalists within Pakistan have done it. So we have that. We will be very glad to share it with you. And there are few people as you said, that they've hidden cameras, and there are copies of the FIRs. There are copies of the judgments. There was a Wrinkle Kumari case in which that got a lot of international attention, because the parents of that girl were very rich. The Islamist jihadis, they lifted that child, beautiful girl. They converted her. She fought up to the Supreme Court. In the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of Pakistan says that anybody who gets into Islam cannot get out of it.
No matter if they're forced.
She's saying that I want to go to my parents. That was her simple plea. She was not concerned about religion. She said, I want to go back to my parents. And this is what the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Pakistan, Mr. Iftikhar Chaudhry, says on record. These records are available in the Supreme Court. So if we show these records to the international community, this is the state you are dealing with, which is shamelessly killing its daughters, its own citizens, innocent victims. So I'm at the wit's end that why is it not the Hindu leadership picking up this matter with the urgency that is needed? Because we get these phone calls from Pakistan regularly, sir. These 5 million Hindus are sticking to their religion just barely by their teeth.
So when they arrive in India,
yes,
what is their plight? What are you doing about it? Besides the citizenship and so on, how do they get jobs? How do they get integrated into society?
The very good thing is that this movement of Hindu refugees has been going on since 47. It's not a new phenomenon. So they all have their jatis. Like southern Punjab comes Meghwals. So Meghwals have an ecosystem here. Meghwals are absorbed into Meghwals. There are Pushkarna Brahmins from Sindh. There are Maheshwari Baniyas. There are Agarwals. There are Malis. There are Kolis, Bhils. Each community has its ecosystem.
So they take them in.
They largely absorb them, but if not, then we get help from other fellow Hindus. We get a lot of help from South India. A lot of people employ them as laborers, but we cannot send them because there are visa restrictions. So we are getting funds from South India. People give us the money. We help them stand on their feet. So
you need funding?
Yes, we need massive funding.
One of the reasons you are here is you want funding. You would like us to help you funding.
Yes, definitely. But sir, I would really request that there should be awareness that this is going on.
If you organize, if there is a basti near Delhi,
there are major 3 bastis.
Okay, then I can come and we can do a town hall meeting on camera because our camera crew will be there.
Yes.
And we can make a nice film, nice documentary,
yes,
taking life stories of various people,
yes, yes,
and bring world attention to it.
Yes.
Is that a good idea?
That's a very good idea, sir.
So there are a lot of things we can do. So one is fundraising, another is awareness building. What about international litigation against Pakistan for this? Why aren't there, I mean, you see, there are so many people fighting against us, fighting against Hinduism in the UN and European Court and British, Parliament and US Commission on Religious Freedom, all of that stuff.
Yes.
Why not mobilize some voice to, fight the Pakistani government doing this kind of thing?
We should do that with proper documentation. I am incapable of doing this. This has to be done at a governmental level. But definitely this is a brilliant idea. If we can shame them for what they have done to their own citizens, that is the only way. Because the moment they raise Kashmir, we should ask a simple question: where are your Hindus?
Right. So, and you mentioned that since 47,
yes,
there's such people coming, and their jatis in India absorb them.
Yes.
We don't have time for this, but maybe one day I'll do an episode. My father barely managed to get out of Lahore.
I can understand.
So I'm one of those guys. I'm a product of that happening. And there's a dramatic story of the family, how many of them got killed along the way, and my father managed to escape. And all that they had to go through, left all their property behind, and how they were double-crossed by people they trusted in Pakistan. So the drama is huge, and I know so many families in our extended, there's so many families who came from there, from Pakistan, have amazing stories to tell. But in our case, since it happened a long time ago, we've become stable in India, we settled and all that, done well. The plight of the people who are still coming is far worse, because probably Pakistan has become much more radicalized now, much more difficult than it was in 1947.
Yes, definitely. It's a very dangerous mix of military-industrial complex on one side, jihadi elements on the other side, and a predatory instinct to engulf the property and girls of kafirs, which is a legitimate tool of...
Islam says it's legitimate to do all kinds of things to the kafir, the infidels, particularly women.
Yeah, that's the sad state of affairs. Somebody has to call the bluff.
Yeah. So,
I'd like to end with one point.
yeah, make the closing statement, yours final statement to my audience. Take Omi seriously and let's help him. Yeah, tell us.
You asked me a question in the beginning, sir, that why has this issue evaded the attention of the world? So when I sat with my friends, and it's sort of a think tank, and we delved deep into this, that how come a thing so starkly obvious could have escaped our attention? And we came up with an acronym, which I want to share with your viewers, which should become a household word, and that is RULLS, RULLS. This is the acronym we've given for the kind of violence that is unleashed on these Hindus. It's random. There is no pattern to this violence. You cannot predict which family will be hit today, which girl will be lifted. It's random. It's unceasing. It's been going on for 1400 years. Started with Muhammad bin Qasim on Raja Dahir. And since then we have been facing this. And this low level, the most critical aspect of this is low level. What does that mean? That keep enough violence so that the kafirs keep cowering in a corner, never raise the level where they evoke a response.
That's a very important strategy they have.
That's a deadly weapon.
Right.
And scattered.
Yes.
There is no geographical...
so that is RUL and then?
RULLS. It's a random, unceasing, low-level, scattered violence.
Brilliant. So, all of us are going to support Dr. Omi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here and also hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified. To donate, please click this button.